We got it planted, we got it growing. Now we're going to harvest it, and we're talking about alfalfa, of course, with our expert, Dr. Don Miller, Director of Product Development with WAXX. Merry Christmas first.
Good morning. I think as far as the first harvest, we've got that alfalfa going, and hopefully you've got a good stand initially, and we want to make sure that we don't do anything as we move forward to damage that stand and do everything right as we move forward.
What are some of the damaging things that we can do? What should we make sure we do right with this first crop tender plant?
Well, you're looking at that growth out there, and you're really needing that forage of that first cut. But I think the main thing is to don't rush that first cut. Let it get established. Let it go to flower on that first cut. We need to make sure that we get well established and that plant is healthy before we start taking that first cut.
And a lot of times we actually damage the crowns by going in when we shouldn't.
Right, and if the plant's too young and hadn't really established yet, you can run over it with equipment and damage that way. And also, if there's anything out there as far as if it's rained on that field and it's muddy out there, you sure enough don't want to drive across that new field and damage those crowns and sink down in there and make a bunch of ruts.
So delay the harvest, you'll be happier in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely.
So will the plant.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that plant is off to a good start because, that plant's going to be out there for 3 to 5 years, and you want to make sure we don't mess up right there at the beginning and limit any future production.
And cutting height is so important.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we don't cut it too close to the ground, don't want to scalp those crowns. And also, when that alfalfa plant goes all the way to flowering, it knows that that first cut is done. And so if you look down into the canopy, if that plant is fully mature, it's starting to think about that next growth. And so you may see some shoots start coming up from the bottom. And so if you waited too long to take that first cut, you want to make sure that you're not going to cut off those new shoots that are coming out of the crown near close to the ground.
And make sure you don't leave a layout there because otherwise it'll try and grow through the windrows.
Absolutely. Some of the new varieties that are out there are pretty fast growing. And so if you leave that material out there in the field too long, you have all this new growth that's coming back, and you go out there and run over it with equipment. If you've ever been out in the field that's been run over with these new shoots coming up, you can see how much it's damaged that new regrowth coming out of the ground.
So that first harvest, so important with that new stand. Make sure you do it right. Don Miller, to talk about it, Director of Product Development with WAXX.